Welcome back to Flow Fanatic. Today's day number 7 of 25. Today we're going to be talking about the solution to yesterday's challenge around creating what I call a Screenflow rollup, an alternative to rollup summary fields. But before we get started, a quick reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel and sign up for our daily challenges in the link below. Let's go ahead and dive in. So today's challenge, or yesterday's challenge, again, is around creating this alternative called a Screenflow rollup. And what are the reasons that we may use a Screenflow rollup? Well, the biggest, I would say, is that often we don't have access to rollup summary fields on certain use cases. So for instance, we can't roll up contact data or case data onto the account object. And so this is a really, really great alternative. So we're going to go ahead and start by clicking on the gear icon. We'll click Setup. We're going to go over here and type in flow. We'll select flows, click on new flow. We're going to start off by creating a screen flow, right? Because we need to basically embed the information, the rolled up data on the account record page. We'll select auto layout beta. And we're going to start off by asking Salesforce to return the different pieces of data. Basically, what are the questions that we need to ask Salesforce here? Well, we want to know the total number of contacts. We want to know the total number of open cases. So you guys may remember this, but to start off with a screen flow, in order to get access to the ID of the record that we're currently on, we're going to go ahead and create a new resource. And we're going to call that resource, we're going to select resource type variable, and we're going to call that resource record ID. We're going to select text. We're going to select available for input. And what this is going to do is when we are on a record page and we either click a button that launches a screen flow or the screen flow just automatically launches from that screen, it's going to automatically pass the record ID into the screen flow. We have to check a box when we set it up, but it will automatically pass that record ID on. So the first thing that we need to do is, now that we've gone ahead and created this record ID resource, so again, we're going to ask Salesforce to return us the data that we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and click on Get Records. I'm going to say Get All Contacts related to account. All right, so what object are we trying to get? We're trying to get contact records, and then we're trying to get all the contact records where the account ID is equal to the record ID, right? The account ID that's passed into the screen flow. We're going to come down and we want to make sure that we select all records, right? Because we don't just want to see one record or get access to one record. We want to get access to all the contacts that are related to this particular account. Our next question or query to Salesforce is all open. All right, so this time we want the case object. We're going to want all the cases where the account ID is equal to the record ID that we pass. But then the additional criteria is we want those that have a status not equal to closed, right? So anything not equal to closed is open. And again, we want to store all the records, right? So most everyone who submitted the challenges got to this point. Here's a really, really nice trick. A lot of people then looped through all these collection variables and basically counted 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 10 contacts, there's 25 cases, and they incremented that number. In our case, we can actually use an awesome feature of Salesforce through the assignment element. So we're going to come in here and actually, let's jump back for 1 second. We want to create 2 more variables. We want to create a count of all contacts, and we want to create a count of all open cases. So we're going to come over here and click New Resource. We're going to select Variable. We're going to say count of open cases. Select a number of fields, click done, and then we're going to do one more for all contacts. All right, great. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create an assignment element, and here's the really cool trick. Say assign contact, assign total contact. So we have the count of all contacts. Here's where it's really cool. Rather than setting it equal to, we can equal the count of the collection variable. We can do it again for count of count of all open cases equals the count of the collection variable. Great. We'll go ahead and click done. And then our final step is to create the Screenflow element, or the screen element, that's going to display this data. So we'll come in here, we're going to hide the header, we're going to add in some display text. We can call this account highlights text. Highlights. Just bold this to make this look a little better. And then we're going to add in 2 number fields. Now there's a couple options here. You can use number fields. You could also just display the actual values in straight text so that there's not this kind of cell that you can manipulate the data in. So those are 2 options. We're going to do it this way, but know that you could basically just add in the variables directly into the text element right over here. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to call this number of open cases. And I'm going to call this number of contacts. And for the number of open cases, I'm going to display the default value of number of open cases. Sorry, the count of open cases. And for number of contacts, I'm going to default that to count of all contacts. I'm going to go ahead and click done. And we need to give the screen a label, so we're going to call this account highlights. Click done. We'll click save. Call this account highlights Screenflow. Save. We'll click activate. All right, let's come back into Salesforce. Let's go ahead and click on the Accounts tab. Click on Edge Communications. Go ahead and click on the gear icon, and now we want to add this Screenflow directly onto the page. We'll click Edit Page. On the left-hand side are components. We're going to search for a flow. We're going to drag this flow right onto the screen. We want to make sure that we have the correct flow selected, account highlights Screenflow, and then we want to make sure that pass record ID into this variable is checked. That's what's going to go ahead and pass that record ID into the variable that we created. We'll go ahead and click Save. Click the back button. And there we go. So we have 1 open case, okay? And we have 2 contacts. You'll notice 3 cases here, but if you click on this, we have 1 case that's in a status of new, and then the other 2 are closed. So this worked perfectly. Anyway, that's the solution to today's challenge or yesterday's challenge. Go ahead and try this out. If you want to remove the finish button here, just one more quick tip. You can come back to the Screenflow, go ahead and click on this, and we can hide the footer. Done. Click save. Click activate. Come back. Refresh. And now we just see those 2 fields. So that's all for today. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll be posting today's challenge in just a few minutes.